Biology Group Project by Shyloe, Hunter Frink, Phoenix Gill, and Brody Stewart. Things to know: Hedgehog, a small nocturnal mammal with spines as defense. Badger, a short-legged omnivore that preys on hedgehogs. Set, the nesting chamber or home of a badger. Footprint tunnel, a small tunnel for small animals to walk through with a surface so that when an animal walks over it, a footprint is visible. The image in the top left shows a footprint tunnel. In it, you can see the paper, which clearly has hedgehog footprints. The figure on the right, the white stripe, is actually a badger. It is inside of a badger set, which is its home. The bottom left picture shows an adorable hedgehog. Background information and why the scientific question was proposed. Agricultural landscapes have seen an overall population decrease, including insectivores such as the hedgehog. The decline of the hedgehog has also been attributed to its predator, the badger. The actual status of the hedgehog in these rural areas is, however, unknown. Knowing the status of all animals is essential to all good animal-wildlife management. The question is, what's the correlation between badger density and hedgehog density? This was asked so that they could better manage the wildlife. The picture in the bottom left shows a badger, and the picture in the bottom right shows a hedgehog. Hypothesis: hedgehog decline has been attributed by an increase in the abundance of badgers, an intragilled predator. This is likely due to the fact that badgers are the hedgehog's main predator. In the image on the right, you can see a badger and a hedgehog. The badger is the predator, the hedgehog is the prey. The experimental methods. The experimental methods consisted of surveyors randomly selecting 1 kilometer squares from a previous survey on badger sets, surveying sections of land. The researchers chose places to survey with badger sets from this previous survey. Then the researchers would deploy footprint tunnels for the hedgehogs around these badger sets at various sites, and bait was placed inside of the footprint tunnels for 5 continuous days. The footprint papers would be brought to the authors for verification. The image on the right, you can see 2 hedgehogs inside of a footprint tunnel. As you can see, the paper clearly shows their footprints, which is how the authors determined if a hedgehog had visited the site. The controls and the variables of this experiment. The controls. There is no control group in this study. Experimental variable. The experimental variable would be the different sites that were surveyed. Independent variable. The independent variable is the badger population because it does not depend on another. The dependent variable. The dependent variable is the hedgehog population because its response to the badger population is what is being measured in this study. The results. The results show that badger population has doubled in the past 25 years, which is a major increase to the hedgehog's predator population. After conducting a survey of badger and hedgehog areas of residency, badger sites were found at 62% of the 261 sites surveyed. These sites were most common in grasslands. These results support the hypothesis that hedgehog decline has been attributed by an increase in the abundance of badgers. The picture on the right is a graph made by the researchers to display their results. The picture shows hedgehog occupancy. Every circle is a site surveyed in New England and Wales. A green circle means a hedgehog was detected. A black circle means that no hedgehog was detected. The size of the circle indicates how many badger sets were present. Small circle being 0, a little bigger 1, little bigger 5, little bigger 10, and the biggest being 15 sets. You can see that where the most sets were, the circles are not green. So where there's an abundance in badgers, there are not hedgehogs. Conclusion of results. After a great deal of research, it is shown that badgers negatively affect the hedgehog population. This is because badgers are the main predator of the hedgehog species, and that badgers tend to live so closely to hedgehog dens. This would make predation of hedgehogs more convenient for the badgers, causing the hedgehog population to decline. Shortcomings and strengths. Strengths. Data can be used as a baseline for future studies. First, unbiased estimate occupancy at a landscape scale. It has credible resources. The shortcomings. The lack of information on historical hedgehog abundance and distribution at a landscape scale. The studies have been conducted in rural landscapes and have typically been conducted either at a local level and do not represent on a larger geographic scale or at a large spatial scale, which makes it unable to accurately identify underlying biological or anthropogenic influences. The lack of accurate techniques to survey rural hedgehogs at the tested scale. And this concludes our presentation.